now had 70 to 80 flights, and the model dry, that is without fuel, weighs 26 kilos. The Hunter is flown by a local, Jeff White from Abingdon, and this is also constructed with the German Airworld kit, composite materials, plexiglass and carbon fibre, purchased in 2008, test flown in 2010. This model is powered by a German Jetcraft 180 RX engine, which has an output of 180 newtons, that's 80 kilos of thrust. It weighs 47 pounds dry and therefore has been certified for operating by the Civil Aviation Authority. Hunter's getting airborne now. My own models have got GPS on board and record all the data. We know that the uptick speed of a model of this variety is around 50 miles an hour. Once the landing gear is retracted and the flaps are retracted, the speeds are around 150 to 175 miles an hour in level flight at full throttle. Of course, we don't use full throttle all the time. There's no need for that. Once the aircraft is in effectively cruising flight, we generally throttle back just as we do with real jets to about 630. The real Hunter was powered by a Rolls-Royce Avon engine with 10,000 pounds of thrust, and the aircraft weighed around, depending on the war load, about 20,000 pounds. It's not truly supersonic except in a shallow dive. It's one of the most beautiful fighters ever developed and sold in large numbers around the world. In fact, over 2,000 Hunters were built. It's a nice slow roll from Jeff at a height of around 50 feet. In fact, it's a double roll. The light is running in low and fast as lightning tends to do. And braking. Pulling up now. To your right, we're starting the flying display, landing 27 feet, Abingdon Air and Country Show with the Hawker Hurricane and the 3.5 SR90 rather than the Mark 260 of the Royal Air Force Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. Spitfire climbs away. And of course the sound of a Rolls-Royce Griffon engine rather than the Merlin. Griffon powering the later marks of Spitfire. It hands over to the Hawker Hurricane. Machine later. Two brothers in Germany, Matthias and Thomas Rieker, who came up with the design. They decided to turn into a full-size aeroplane. And a very, very tight mirror formation it is too. Now both the right way up again, pulling up into a wing over, ready to reposition. And isn't that elliptical wing shape reminiscent of a miniaturized Supermarine Spitfire? Of course, this is a very light aeroplane utilizing the latest in composite materials for its construction. And remaining in very tight formation for the first of a couple of barrel rolls.
original Twister had an engine producing just 80 horsepower from its Jabiru power plant. Peter Wells, the team leader and founder, soon re-equipped with a more powerful 107 horsepower UL power engine. This allowed the installation of an inverted fuel system, so useful for aerobatic displays, and the team's aerobatic repertoire has expanded ever since. Peter started out as a solo, flying both individually and alongside the Swift aerobatic display team with the Swift S1 and Fox aerobatic gliders, and then moved up to a two-ship Twister team, and the rest is history. Two aircraft pulling through a loop. And now pulling up into the first of what's known as a quarter clover manoeuvre. We'll see several of these in the display today. And changing display axis as they do so, called a quarter clover because the idea is that if you put four of them together, the shape traced in the sky resembles a clover leaf. Braking going away. Off turbines pulling up as if to lip, but rolling off the top, in towards each other, with opposition paths. Up once again. Quarter roll on the way up, ready for synchronised stall turns. So, Simon's Twister getting airborne to return to base. Once again, there will soon be a resumption of the flying programme. UH-1H, a type officially named the Iroquois, but much better known by the name Huey. That gave rise, HQ, that designation, to the nickname by which this flight was correctly known, that of Huey. It was used by all the US Armed Services and countless overseas air arms. More than 16,000 of these helicopters were produced, and they're most indelibly associated with their role in the Vietnam War. Thousands of them served in Vietnam, more than 3,300 of which were destroyed. But that was no surprise, given the massive number of Hueys that were in theatre. Right the way through until the war ended with the Argentine surrender on the 14th of June. Campaign. This helicopter carried on flying, but now with Rob Tierney was having the helicopter moved to RAF Finningley near Doncaster, but it was badly damaged during the road move when a rotor blade hit a bridge. It was a rather more extensive rebuild that was required to return it to flying condition than Rob had expected. But 3.5 years later, after a very in-depth restoration, it was returned to flight with Rob Tierney at the controls. Its first post-restoration flight was at the end of May 1986. It took place at RAF Odium, and appropriately enough, one of the people looking on was the former governor of the Falkland Islands, Sir Rex Hunt, a former RAF Spitfire pilot. It was then that this machine was given the registration it now wears, G Huey, and it was operated by the Royal Air Force Benevolent Fund for promotional and fundraising purposes for several years. Later it was grounded and put on loan to the Bournemouth Aviation Museum before it was sold again to a syndicate based at North Weald in Essex. And it was returned to flight in February 2007, now in this olive drab here. There are still several US law enforcement agencies that fly Hueys in Europe. They're used by the armed forces of Germany and Spain, and a twin-engine variant, now the latest UH-1Y model, the Yankee, is still in production for the United States Marine Corps. This may be an historic machine, but it's still very relevant indeed in today's world. Second line trench somewhere in the Somme sector of northern France, looking eastwards towards the British front line, from the British front line towards the German trenches. The 504K, the first of the two aircraft in front of us here, is performing artillery spotting, but it's being shot at from the German trenches, and there's also fire from the gunner on the two-seat Junkers CL-1, a German ground attack aircraft.
I can't talk with her.
The pair of aircraft flying along Above us here, from right to left, are examples of the Royal Aircraft Factory SE5A. These scale replicas meet the type that Trevor Bailey, who's with me, knows well, because Trevor, you should have been flying here today.
Indeed I should, Ben, and how I miss it. Unfortunately I was flying for display last weekend, in fact for HOH Princess Anne, of course.
And of course, Trevor, there's an interesting point here, isn't there, in that the Fokker triplane was developed in part as a response to the excellent performance of the Sopwith aeroplane.
Exactly that, and it's very different wing construction that it has.
Branded replica aircraft here depicts the first prototype, which was used on loan to number 1 Naval Squadron in France from 1960 onwards. The Fokker triplane, meanwhile, appeared 100 years ago this year, of course, a whole host of famous German pilots flew it, the likes of Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron, and Werner Voss. The triplane we see here is owned, though not flown today, by the Iron Maiden musicians.
306 on it, and then about 600 feet. And if there is any issue, it's pretty easy to sometimes forget where you are, then it's straight out to the back of the display site and fly. And then once you're comfortable that you're back in sync, then rejoin.
And this does give an idea, doesn't it, of something of what the actual dogfights of the First World War must have looked like. Dozens of aircraft engaged in close-in tail chases. Nowadays we talk about beyond visual range combat with modern aircraft with radars and missiles equipped for that. Well, nothing like that in 1914 to 18. Famous names. She was a good performer at all altitudes, faster than his German rivals, excellent rate of flight, it was strong, it was agile. What we see here are 7/8 scale replicas, aren't they, Trevor?
That's correct.
US-5A flying past with the two CL-1s behind them.
We are already expecting a very busy 2018 then.
Couple of departures, Lauren Richardson getting off in her pit special to return to base, followed by Peter Troy Davies in the Rotorsport Calidus Auto Gyro. He's got quite a long journey back to his home base up near Blackpool. And so the short departure slot before the T-28S Fennec, then the Master Hero Parachute, followed by the Scouts from the historic Army Aircraft Line, which goes the Yakovlev Yak 3U. The first of them was the Yak-1, which passed its Soviet state testing in early 1940. That was an effective aeroplane, but the design was modified, made smaller and lighter to create the Yak-3. Of course, because of the sort of climate in which it was operating, the very tough environment of the Eastern Front, it still had to be a rugged and easy to maintain airframe, and so it proved. It had excellent agility, very high rates of turn and roll especially, and the Yak-3 thus was more than a match for the contemporary German fighters like the Messerschmitt DFY-9G and the Focke-Wulf FW-190. The Yak-3s had their first major combats in the Battle of Kursk in July to August 1943. That was a crucial engagement for the Soviets in gaining the upper hand against German forces. It was quite short range, the original Yak-3, which was something of a handicap, but it was very effective in combat. The original aircraft had a 12-cylinder Klimov BK-1 Drive 5 engine of 1300 horsepower, which gave them a top speed in the range of 400 miles an hour. The various reproductions and recreations that have been produced in much more recent times have alternative power plants. Quite a lot of them, such as Phil Greenwood's machine that can be seen in the static display here, have Allison B1710 inline engines. This one though has 1200 horsepower Pratt & Whitney R1830 radial, giving the aircraft a top speed of around 470 miles an hour. During the summer of 1944 that large-scale Yak-3 deliveries to the Soviet Air Force began, and the unit I was talking about earlier when Will Greenwood's aircraft arrived really proved what a good aircraft it was. That was the Normandy-Yemen Squadron, a unit made up of 3 French pilots. It was indeed a French Air Force unit that fought with the Soviets. It was set up in 1942, 75 years ago this year, in the wake of the German invasion of the Soviet Union, to increase ties between the Free French under Charles de Gaulle and the Soviets. Originally the squadron, which was the division of the Chasse Fighter Regiment 3, was just given the name Normandie. It was later changed to Normandy-Yemen to reflect its part in the effort to liberate areas around the Yemen River. Display rolling the North American T-51D Mustang. Extending its 2017 Abingdon Air and Country Show. Wheels down, over the fence on final approach. And completing his sequence, our thanks to Rick van der Graaf in the Yak. And it did so as a result of perceived deficiencies with the Allison engine that powered the early P-51s in service. It was a very good low-altitude fighter, the Allison engine Mustang. That was the same unit that powered many of the Curtiss P-40 variants. But at higher altitudes, the aircraft was really too underpowered to be considered at the time a good fighter. And the then commanding officer of the Air Fighting Development Unit, the Royal Air Force Unit stationed in Duxford in Cambridgeshire, who hit upon the idea of putting the Rolls-Royce Merlin into the Mustang. The first Merlin-powered P-51 prototype took to the air 75 years ago this year in 1942. It was immediately an aircraft transformed. Now it could fight well and effectively at high altitudes as well. With the US 8th and 9th Air Forces, they made a very significant contribution to the war effort in the latter stages of World War II, able to escort the United States Army Air Force bombers, the B-17 Flying Fortresses and B-24 Liberators, right the way to their targets in occupied Europe and back. Effective in that endeavour was the P-51's brother in Army Air Force service at the time. traditional urban final approach flown by the E-51 because visibility over the nose in these aircraft is not great. So you're trying to keep the airfield in sight for as long as possible before levelling out on final approach. Beautifully done by Peter Teichmann, completing a sequence on the North American 251D Mustang. Takeoff and landing. It comes to us from the AM2 Club, based at Popham in Hampshire, and from them also comes Graham Foscue, who joins me in the commentary box. Graham, a very warm welcome to Abingdon.
Thank you, Dan. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having us here, Abby.
1,000 horsepower from the Schwexon supercharged radial engine, and off in absolutely nothing at all.
This aircraft was designed for a very short takeoff and landing. As you can see, she was airborne there in approximately 30 metres.
And this is just one of some 18,000 examples of the type that were produced, more than 5,000 of which were made in the Soviet Union, but the majority, like this one, rather topically at the moment.
And now looking to the left, here she comes, the first pass. This is Big Bird Kilo Foxtrot. If you follow us on Twitter, that's the hashtag, and you can see us at AM2 Club.
Now this is really quite a fast pass, Graham, by the standards of the Antonov.
Yeah, that's right there, Ben. That's quite fast for her. We'll do a special thing we call a slow-by, which we'll be doing very, very shortly. Indeed, if the headwind is correct, we can actually get down to around about 28 knots.
This is
Quite incredible, such a large aircraft, 5.5 tonnes, 1,000 horsepower, and if that 1,000 horsepower cuts, you just see it comes in like a parachute. Quite incredible. As Chris brings around now, and you'll demonstrate on the slow run.
a really magnificent beast of an aeroplane. It can get up to a top speed of about 160 miles an hour. But now, in contrast, coming into wind. Now, if the wind was rather stronger than it is today, we would see even more of its slow speed capability, wouldn't we?
Yes, indeed. But Chris is doing very well there. Takes a lot to hold the aircraft in this position. You may see the leading edge slats, the red slats on the top wing have deployed. Yes, indeed, I can see they have deployed. So that's creating an extra width of the wing.
A war zone, and it makes it very difficult. And I believe the Americans have attempted to develop tactics to use against AN-2s for reasons we perhaps don't need to go into.
Yeah, there was an incident, I believe, in Vietnam, which we're hoping to reenact later on this year at Cosford, where a Huey, of which we saw one earlier, actually got above the AN-2 and shot the pilot literally through the head with a gun from the helicopter to take the aeroplane out.
I suppose a helicopter would be a more effective method than a fixed-wing aeroplane in that sort of situation.
Indeed, and there's also incidences that they've tried to get the downdraft from a rotor from a helicopter to try and stall the AN-2 and force it out of the sky.
Apart from in Poland, AN-2s were built in significant quantities under license in China. I believe the last one came off the production line in 1992.
And this is where we're going to try and say is a fast run. I believe Chris will be concluding the display with this. Not quite sure yet, but this is quite fast. Giving a wave, and I think Bill will be giving a wave back.
So turning on to final approach, what sort of speed were you doing as you crossed the threshold, do you think?
He's probably going normal at about 35, 40 knots. And a nice flare. And she'll be down, probably the same, into the intersection.
Easily so. Bit of a bounce. 47 to take the full length of the runway. had 21 passengers and no sleeping accommodation, the effect was immediately obvious. Those airline services became quicker and more profitable for their operators, and all the major US airlines at the time were soon flying DC-3s. Of a pair of Pratt & Whitney R1830 twin Wasp 14-cylinder radial eggs and airframe, particularly the cabin floor was strengthened, at least to be able to accommodate paratroopers and equipment, and of course a side cargo door. The C-53 Sky Trooper was another version, optimised for the dropping of paratroops, but there were countless variants. It was known by the US Navy and Marine Corps as the R4D. It was known as the Dakota in the British and Commonwealth service that it saw. The RAF took its first Dakota 1 on strength in India in 1942. It came to operate around 1,900 examples. In all the theatres that the C-47 operated in, its achievements were legion. They flew over the hump, as it was known, from India to China. They flew in the jungles of the Far East. On D-Day and during the rest of the invasion of Europe, they towed gliders and dropped parachutists, and so much more. One can barely touch upon it in the time available here. After World War II, they were employed on the Berlin airlift in 1948 to 49 to keep that divided city, even before the advent of the war in 1961, supplied. They were used extensively in the Korean War. The AC-47 gunship and EC-47 electronic warfare versions were used in Vietnam, and turboprop converted Dakotas are still used by today's United States Air Force for special operations missions. Wheels now coming down and the aircraft will be teardropping round to land. So rolling out, and shortly to vacate the runway. The ace is high. Douglas C-47
curfews to which they need to adhere. They don't want to be potentially stuck here overnight with all the complications that entails. These four aircraft heading off to their home base at Biggin Hill in Kent. The C-47 just waiting on the far side of the runway. That's going to be doing, I think, quite a quick turn round before heading back to its base at Dunsfold. Taking the runway in front of the four Shipping and Airlines aircraft, and two is going to be carrying the Jump for Heroes parachute team running up. So quite what the weather is going to do in the immediate vicinity. So running, I can see the Mustang Miss Helen. Here goes the Dragonfly. Hornet Moss and then the very rare rear-wing Sportster. Smoke on, rolling and straight into the air. This is the Pitts S2S
muscle biplane. Yes, it's a pit special, but you might say not as we know it, because this is a very highly modified example of one of the most famous of all competition and display aerobatic aeroplanes. Comes to there's Rich, rolling inverted, onto the knife edge, and into a very comfortable negative G, outside turn, and then tumbling around the axes. He'll be coming back in on what we call the main A axis. The A axis is the one running along the line of the main runway. The B axis is the one at 90 degrees onto that. He'll be pulling up into a half loop to the inverted, and then a single snap roll into kicking in the rudder, and round he goes. Incredible power to weight ratio with this aircraft. 8.5 litre, 6-cylinder Lycoming engine at Richard's disposal, with a bespoke aerobatic propeller. He's given the aircraft a new undercarriage, better aerodynamic. Likewise, he's altered the engine cowling, given the aircraft a new rudder design, which gives it more powerful yaw control. And the result is seriously impressive. The gyroscopic forces taking over there as Rich went vertical.
What did you say?
Once more. Snap rolls on the top of the loop. More negative G. 1.5 to the inverted. Negative G. Flips and tumbles back to the inverted. He'll pull through from there. Making sure all the time, of course, that he meets his specified gate heights at the top of each manoeuvre. Running display such as this also involves a fair degree of adaptation depending on the conditions prevailing at the time, whether it be cloud, wind or whatever. I was talking about was the T-28 Trojan, designed as a replacement for North American's earlier T-6 Texan or Harvard. Apart from the tricycle undercarriage, it was also given a similar cockpit design to some of the early US military jets of its day. And the
That we have on the scene was literally thousands of jumps. And now some nice landing with his lovely poppy canopy there. Next guy we have is a big Al, Vance Allen, and he is the team leader for Jump for Heroes.